Hi, Hot Corners. We're here in Venice at the film festival where Gianfranco Rosi has joined me. Thank you very much,
Thank you
Gianfranco.
for inviting me here.
It's a real pleasure, and we saw your film the other day, NOTTURNO, which is a documentary. But with your documentaries, there's always a sort of hybrid feeling, because it feels more like a poem to me almost than a film. Rhyming images, rhyming sound design. How is that a way that you look at your own films, or do you see it very much as a documentary?
Well, I always say this film is a documentary because it is a documentary because I'm filming real people, real life, real things. But for me, it's always important when I start a project the idea of transforming reality in something else, which doesn't mean manipulating reality, but somehow try to find the space and the moment where to film when something becomes it transforms. There's a sense of transformation, and mostly what I have to find constantly when I film is a sense of synthesis. I have to find something that is the core of what I'm filming, that is the essence. So I use many elements to arrive to this. Light is one of the important things for me constantly, and to grab and be able to follow the people that I decide to film for a long time in order to get closer and closer and closer, and anticipating what it is, the essential part, which is the truth in each person, or in each, even a landscape has its own truth, even a space that seems to be empty with the right light, with the things, you have to film it and becomes like the essence of life, it becomes the essence of something. So, for me, when I put the frame, I like to film with a camera that has a weight. The camera is big. I don't like to film with a small camera. I have to feel the weight of the camera. I have to be able not to move the camera. I use the tripod a lot. And I have to find the frame that somehow that frame is going to tell the story, from beginning, middle, and end. Everything has to be completed in that one single shot. And in that choice, I miss a lot of things around me. But once I decide that choice, I have to be able also that the things that I miss, they are part of that narration, It's also in the editing, it's the same thing, when you have a lot of material and you take the material out and suddenly from 90 hours you go down to 100 minutes, you exclude so many things, but when you see the film, you know that also what is not there, you see also things that do not belong into the film. You have to perceive the fact that there's elements that we don't see but they're there. It's like a perfect picture is when picture can say what is before, what is outside the frame, what is before and what after that means. So that's when I mean the synthesis that I have to find, And then there's always a search for elements that are universal, that are almost an archetype. They have the weight of the archetype. And only like this I'm able to go from one story to another story, when the story have the same weight and the same importance.
Yes, because you're drawing from lots of different countries, from Syria, Lebanon.
Yeah, this film was very difficult for this reason, because all my project before was like in very small places, both my Bruce level, they were like small area, and they have a unity. And this place it scattered from country to another country, with countries that have different background, different history, different problem, different source of belonging, different ethnic group, different religions, and then yet in this film I wanted, this was a big sfida, challenge. It was a big challenge and this I had from the beginning, this to be able to get rid of this geographical element and try to build the story only with the people. So one story is in Iraq, one story is in Kurdistan, one story is in Lebanon, and then at the end I wanted this space through and with the people that I choose to film, becoming almost like an abstraction, like a mental space. And the story was only belonging to the individual, to the people, to the territory.
That's a very important point. How do you sort of enter into their lives? Because they seem to have very much taken confidence in you. How do you win that trust?
Time is the most important factor when I film. I don't have sense of time myself. 7 years ago, I just learned. I was past 7 years since the last time I was in Venice, and
with Roma,
someone asked me to me, I said, maybe 1 year, 2 years, no, 1 year, no, I said 3, 4 years. I have to think a lot in order to know what is 7 years. And the same when I start the project. I know when I start, I never know when I end. And I spent this in this film 3 years, so it was a big investment on my own time and on the time of the people, because as I say, all these stories, they were like scattered in different places. And I was falling, before filming, I spent months and months searching for the story. And once I have a story, I spend time, a lot of time, in order to understand all the elements, the space, the rhythm. You know, each person has a certain routine in their life. You know, once you enter that and you capture that, then you can anticipate things. But the most important thing is to find a very strong bonding, which is trust. You know, without trust, you cannot film. You know, the person has a certain point able to forget the camera, and although the camera is a huge present, you know, but unfortunately the camera changes every interaction. Because once I put the camera transforms something. So I never know when I film what's going to happen in front of me, because I don't set up anything. So every time is like a surprise for me, and most of the time the surprise is bigger than my imagination, you know. So that's what for me it's to be able to build the story step by step, day by day, and suddenly you arrive to have this world that is a world that I would never be able to write or to imagine before, you know.
And even and one of the surprises of the film, I think, is though it's about trauma and suffering, there's also an element of hope to it.
Yeah, the hope is there is an element of hope, but there is an element of suspension a lot. You know, there's a very strong element of weight in the film. You know, in every scene there is this very strong element of the weight, you know, of something. The soldier waiting for the enemy. The war is like an echo. The violence, you see the consequence of the destruction of the violence into the people life. The war has this incredible power of hitting in a very spreaded way, but in the film you perceive the sound of the world, and you see the result of what the world does into the daily life of people somehow. So the film creates at the end a sense of suspension, you know, and what is the most perceivable things in this suspension is the future.
Right, sort of openness, you know. Yeah.
The open, and also the future is suspended, is on hold almost. You know, it's like when you put a pose and you wait for something. In the face of Ali, the last frame, that's what I perceived a lot. Ali, he never talks, but every single close-up there is on him is worth 100 words, is worth 100 questions. And I never ask questions to the people. I never want to have from them answer. But then if you're able to look, at the end, you perceive, also through the silence, also through the absence, you give yourself a lot of answer, I think.
Absolutely. Well, it's a wonderful film. It's one of my favourites of the festival, so congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And thank you very much for talking to us on our
In English.
And in English. Wonderful, wonderful English. Thank you very much, Gianfranco.
Good accent.
The best yet. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.